With our bowling ball now having converted the spare, let's concentrate our efforts on the signage above the alley. What we'll want to do is have the words "You Win" light up. Before we do that though, we'll want the action in our scene to wait a slight moment until things register that we've made a successful conversion with our shot. With that in mind, we'll light the sign up at around frame 110. As a continuation from the previous video, I'm simply carrying forward the bowling alley animation file. On our timeline, let's move to frame 110. Now, to make the activity on our sign happen, we're going to be animating two different things. One will be the material on the sign turning from black to red. The second will be the sign actually lighting up. We'll do that by increasing the skin's self-illumination. Both of those things won't begin until frame 110. Now, we could use the auto key way of keyframing, but that would require us to have to move a few keys around once things were laid down. A better way to go will be to instead use the Set Key option. In order to do that though, we'll have to turn on a special key filter. Below the timeline, directly to the right of the Set Key button, let's open up Key Filters. In the list, we'll want to make sure to place a check mark to the right of Materials. This is simply our way of telling 3ds Max that when we animate our material, we want to be able to use the Set Key feature. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Let's close the dialog, then select the lettering named "You Win." With that done, we can activate the Set Key option and open up the Material Editor by typing M. With the keyframing option having been activated, you'll now notice a red square around our lettering material. This is Max's way of telling us it's ready to help us keyframe what we have selected. Making sure you're at frame 110 on the timeline, let's go ahead and set a key. That key will create red brackets around all the material spinners. That's our way of knowing that this information is currently stored. Let's now go to frame 120 and we'll make a few adjustments. Back in the Material Editor, let's open up the diffuse color swatch, changing it from black to red. Once that's done, we'll move to the right of the color swatches, taking the self-illumination up to 100. Now, for Max to remember those changes, we'll have to set another key. With the red brackets now reappearing around both the color swatches and the spinners, we should now have saved and stored what we need. Let's close the Material Editor and scrub over our timeline. Looks like things are in place. Let's turn off our Set Key and play things back. The ball knocks over the pins and the sign turns on. Now, we are running a little short of frames at the back end of our timeline. Let's change that. This go-round will open up the time configuration dialog. You can do that by clicking on its icon. You'll find it just to the right of the frame number. Or you can simply right-click on any of the playback arrows. In the dialog, about halfway down on the left-hand side, let's change our end time to 175. With that done, let's accept our changes and play back our timeline again. Now, as a final step, why don't we also have our camera pull in a bit so we get a better look at the action. We'll select the camera by going up to the camera name in the upper left-hand corner. From the menu, we'll drop down to the bottom, choosing Select Camera. With our camera now selected, let's turn on the auto key and head to frame 100 on the timeline. What we'll do is have the camera begin to dolly in from the beginning, having it stop at frame 100. Now as we move in, we're going to want to make sure to have a clear view of our sign, so let's not take it too far. With our time slider at 100 and auto key on, let's move to the camera controls on the lower right-hand side of the interface. Top row, far left, let's activate Dolly. With the command ready to go, we can now dolly in slightly in our view. Once things are in place, we'll turn off auto key and we'll play things back from the beginning. So there you go, mission accomplished. If we took a few moments to render things out, here's what we get as a result of our efforts. The movie's named Bowling Alley Spare. I'll throw it in the Working Files folder for this chapter. That's going to do it for our bowling alley project. Job well done. I'll go ahead and save the scene out as Bowling Alley Animation Completed if you'd like to go in and look things over.